All right, guys, that was crazy. Let's talk about something a little bit more human-y. All right, everybody. This is. I told you I was going to be around after the debates, which I did record, and I will have some commentary on a little bit later because I am a masochist. But I did want to get back to some really, really cool things that are more sort of in the core values of Love Bites Hard. Of course, this is Lilith 70. I am a ULC minister. I teach premarital education classes. I also teach a lot of one-on-one stuff as far as like dealing with depression, trauma, PTSD, mental health, autism, ADHD, all sorts of fun stuff. I've been around a little bit. I know some things. So today I wanted to talk about, and I know that because we kind of got interrupted here, we're probably not going to have anybody directly in chat, but I still wanted to have it here for you guys to refer back to a little bit later. No doubt I'll do like smaller, more in-depth segments or whatever. The catastrophic shit show kind of stole our time, more time than I was expecting. Anyway, let's get into the idea of the 7 words for love. All right, 7 words for love. So this comes from the Greek concept that love is not a simple thing. It's not a basic thing that you just sort of, they just really had the right idea. You know, it's such a complex, enormous idea. And English doesn't have very good differentiation between different types of love. So we have to fight for our, to say I love you to our friends, or to say I love you to our parents, or to our siblings, or to our sometimes to our children, because it's awkward and it's weird. And what does love mean? You know, I have this weird thing about we're learning Spanish, me and Rue, and one of the things that's kind of weird is that te quiero, or yo quiero, I think it's te quiero, is very, it means I love you, but it also kind of, in some senses, sort of I guess it's a regional thing. Sometimes translates as, I want you as I love you as in I want you. But I think Yotamo is more like I love you in a different sense. And it's, not uncommon for different phrases to mean different types of love, of course. But the Greeks really had something going on. And what I teach in my premarital education class is that relationships have to be balanced out, and they can't. Your love isn't just one thing. It should never be one thing. That's boring, really. And if I'd thought about it, I would have had a few more memes to throw into this, but maybe a little bit later. So let's go look at our first word for love. And if you are, for those of you watching at home, what you can do is grab a piece of paper and a pen right now, crayon, pencil, whatever. You want a few really good pieces of paper, because this might take you a couple of hours. As we go through these 7 words, I want you to think about your partner. I assume most of you are looking at partners, or looking for partners. If you have a partner, definitely think about how these concepts are kind of expressed in your relationship, how you feel they're expressed, how you feel your partner expresses them to you, where appropriate. Also think about, if you are not currently in a relationship, what these types of love look like to you, what they mean to you, how you have experienced them successfully in the past, how they've kind of gone horribly wrong. It just depends. Because obviously, anything overdone is done poorly. So here we go. The 7 words for love. And our first word is Eros. Now, a lot of people, when they think about Eros, they think about sexy love, about erotica, things like that. But it's not. It's actually the zing. You guys have seen Hotel Transylvania? 1 and 2 and 3, Family Vacation. Not that I've seen all of them multiple times or anything. You know what I mean? But the zing, it's, you know, it's a beautiful concept and I love it from these movies. So the zing is like this inexplicable attraction. It's that feeling that is the greater than the sum of its parts, you know? So if you sat down and you listed everything that you love about your partner, like every little thing, it would not add up to the power of what you truly feel. Like you give every little thing a weight, and it's still going to be bigger. You know, it's butterflies in your stomach, being able to spot them in a crowd. It's the inexplicable attraction that makes them the most beautiful person in the world to you, even though you've had rough mornings and you've got smeared eyeliner and crazy chicken hair, and that's how I know Gryphon likes me. Because without the zing being at the right level, there's really no reason to go any further in this adventure, right? So not enough Eros is like, well, you know, you're cool and all, and you're one of my favorite humans, but, you know, no, you just stay over there on that side. Okay, guys, bye. Too much is creepy and weird. And it's not even so much a matter of too much or too little. The idea is for you and your partner to have them balanced, to feel roughly about the same amount of zing. Now, a very important thing about this, zing is not going to be, it's not going to express the same way for each of you. Like for Gryphon and I never believed in love at first sight. I thought that was the stupidest fucking thing in the world. It's something somebody made up to sell record albums. It was dumb. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, Panda. How are you doing, sweetie? We actually just got started. We got about 45 minutes stolen out of us by President. Well, actually 15 minutes, because I said I was going to be about half an hour late. So it's Trump's fault. Anyway, so with Eros, I didn't believe in love at first sight. But then it happened. It's like, oh, well, shit, here is the thing. For him, it happened a little bit differently. It was very NRE, I think, to start with, new relationship energy, and sort of built over time. But it could not have built over time if there wasn't a solid ember there to start with. And so we experienced our zing, we experienced our Eros in very different ways. But obviously they kind of work out, you know. I think also if, I think he'd said that he had actually experienced that kind of lightning strike before. It didn't really turn out so well. So maybe if that had happened between us, it wouldn't have been something he could have trusted. And if I had been put in this position to kind of have to guess and wait and like, well, do I really like this guy? Well, you know, I mean, so there's a lot of cool things, but, you know, I don't know that I probably wouldn't have stuck around, because at that point I had way too much going on. I wouldn't have had the patience to, wow, I talk about crazy chicken here. I wouldn't have had the patience to kind of sit around and wait to see if things went anywhere. So Eros happens in a lot of different ways. You know that, if I thought about it, I would have loaded it up. There's that little scene from, really? There's that little scene from Next Generation where Oh, God damn it. She's my favorite. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is talking to Will Wheaton, and Will Wheaton says, "Oh, but you know, it's over. But I'll never love anybody the way I loved her." And Whoopi Goldberg says, "Well, yeah, duh. But that's not a bad thing. You're never going to love anybody the same way you love somebody else, because then what the hell's the point? Go out and try something new, you know?" So that's Eros. Go back over here. Eros. I know you're thinking, but where's the sexy times? Well, it's coming. That's all right. Be patient. Keep your pants on. We'll get there. All right, Eros. All right. The second word for love, I don't remember, so you guys are going to be just as surprised as I am. Is philia. Philia. Now we know philia. It is the suffix partial root for a lot of words. Unfortunately, the first one that comes to mind is necrophilia. Agrophilia? Like, I like being outside. Philia actually means friendship. It means affinity for. So Eros is like the zing. It's like the lightning strike. It's that deep, burning, sustaining type of fire. Philia is, you're my best friend. Literally, when you say, I am marrying my best friend, this is what it means. It means that you have, each other's favorite colors, how you like your coffee, what kinds of movies you like, what kinds and why they like them. This is, okay, I'm gonna nerd for just a minute. First date, Gryphon and I, we're talking about zombie movies. Now, especially at the time, I was a little weird because I actually really like horror movies and I like zombie movies, but I was very careful about who I watched them around and who I watched them with, because I got shit on a lot, let's say like taken advantage of, but like poorly treated, let's say. For having honest reactions to horror movies, like when I first saw Sixth Sense, okay, I know it doesn't really count as a horror movie, but at the time I saw it, it kind of fucked with me. And it kind of fucked with me for a while. Like, I had to sleep with the lights on for a couple of nights just because some of the imagery really stuck with me. Yeah, that I told the guy I was dating at the time about that, and he gave me such a load of shit that I dumped him. Because I didn't want him bringing it up constantly and trying to fuck with me about it. Like, dude, I'm sharing something vulnerable, kiss my ass. So I'm sitting here talking to Gryphon about zombie movies and stuff like that. And before I can say anything about the genre, he goes, yeah, so here's the thing about zombie movies. They're not really about zombies. They're actually about human dynamics. They're about how humans work together and interact in all kinds of, traumatic and crisis experiences. And I'm like, oh, that's why I love you. Okay, cool. It's really, really cool stuff. All right. Carrying on. You can vent to each other. You can call each other out also when you're going overboard. So, if you call your best friend and you're going on about, how this bitch at work, blah, 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 blah. And if your best friend goes, okay, that's great, but you are the one that stole her keyboard and planted all those bean sprouts in it. Well, yeah, fine. You guys can play games together, honestly. Board games, video games, word games, whatever. And you trust each other to play your best. And this is where we get into the really important words. Trust. You trust your friends with your intimate emotional well-being. Poor baby, he hates games. Oh, did you see that little fib he told? He says he hates games. What were we playing the other day? Horizon Zero Dawn. That's what we were playing. The board game. It was amazing. You trust your friends with your intimate emotional well-being, and what that means is you are vulnerable with them. Intimacy is not intimacy is not sex. I mean, it can be. That's cool. But you can have sex with somebody without being intimate. When you are intimate and you trust somebody, you tell them all about the dark things. You share the dark things with them. You share the light things. You tell them your goofy jokes. Gryphon and I sit here all day just exchanging memes. All day. It's what we do. Explore, deep existential questions of the soul, and also together look up what the actual real plural of octopus is. It's octopuses. I don't remember if that's the last line. Yes, exactly. But we looked it up together. It was very cute. Or did we see it on a video? I don't remember. That's not important. Here's the important part. The important part is when you have to have that core of philia with your partner. So, oh my God, the zing, it's amazing. Oh, my heart's on fire. That's cool. But they think video games are dumb, or that reading is overrated, or that M. Night Shyamalan is like the best director ever next to Uwe Boll. All right, some things are forgivable, but there's not a lot to work with there. Okay, so this a lot of times your philia is a lot of your common ground. Michael Bay, go boom. Speaking of our 8-armed friends, My Octopus Teacher is a great documentary. Bring tissues. Oh, that's supposed to be in quotes. My Octopus Teacher is in quotes. I'm like, your teacher is a documentary? I've been having a lot of literary processing issues. That's completely not your fault. Oh, honey, wait till you see Uwe Boll. Oh my God. I think Prince of Persia is with Jason Statham is like the only Uwe Boll. Uwe Boll did that one, right? Prince of Persia with, I want to say it was Jason Statham, or maybe it was a Jason Statham knockoff. Anyway, the point is, no. I will totally check it out. Jake Gyllenhaal. Did he shave his head? Because I really remember there being a kind of a baldish guy with the wrong pants for that era. But that's just me. Anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal has terrifying eyebrows. Not as bad as that Colin guy. But the point is that philia is the things that you have in common. It's the things that you share together. It's what makes you friends. I mean, think about your friends in high school, okay? So you guys talked about the bands that you liked and the books that you liked and the movies that you liked. Oh yeah, he's awful too. Just had to knock the Shyamalan down. Well, oh honey, we could get worse. But we've seen a lot of really bad movies, which is actually one of the things that we enjoy together. One of the best early moments in our relationship is I had a website briefly called bad-stories.com, I think, and I did just reviews of really, really bad movies, like Bounty Killers. And I got to see and review the very first Sharknado before it was released. The only difference is they added like 4 more sharks. Yup. The asylum, baby. But you think about the best friend relationships that you had in high school and stuff. What did you guys talk about? What did you guys share? And that's the same kind of thing that you have with your partner. She has gotten a taste of internet fame, and now she's like, oh my God, my people want me. Oh, you know, this hurts me more than it hurts you. But you trust your friends, and you trust your friends to call you out, and you trust your friends to be honest with you in ways most other people can't be. One of the things that I kind of do, I don't have to do it very often, but what I'll do sometimes when I'm having a conflict, I used to do this with my ex as well. It actually worked out really well. Is I would, a couple of times I like, all right, I love you, but you are very uncomfortable. Ow, shit. I did this with my ex a few times. So I'd like text him or and say, oh my God, you would not believe what my husband just did. Can you believe this crap? I mean, oh my God. And he'd complain about his wife, obviously to me. But when we put it into like that third person perspective, it created a good perspective, an important perspective. So that's your philia. Yeah. Ludus. Now remember I said that we were going to get to the sexy stuff in a minute? Okay, so this is the sexy stuff. Ludus is what most people think of when they say Eros. It's sexy times, it's flirty times. It is, but it's a little bit more than that. Okay, so it is, yes, the sex. Oh my goodness, I'm like see how I am? I'm like clicking along and you guys can't even see it. Oh, I blame Trump. Sorry, Ludus. Hey, there it is. Ludus. This is what most people are thinking of when they say Eros. It's sexy times. Sex doesn't have to be intimate, but when you're with a partner with whom you truly share trust, intimacy is a powerful part of it. So Ludus can just be having great sex together. But great sex really only happens when you have trust and true intimacy. However, intimacy does not have to be serious, and it does not have to be sexual. So Ludus is where Ludus is, you know, the 5 love languages, which I'm probably going to talk about next week. Touch is one of the 5 love languages, and Ludus is actually where that fits in. Like I teach all my couples, everybody has the 5 love languages. Everybody appreciates the 5 love languages. It's just a question of to which degree and when. So Ludus as a expression, or touch rather, as an expression of Ludus, knowing how to touch your partner without being sexual, but still being intimate is enormously powerful. Communication, of course, is super important. Trust, absolutely. Respect. Let's talk about respect for a second. What does respect mean? It's a very, very weird thing. And I actually have like 14 dozen Brazilian articles on this from various different stages, walks of life, and sources. You know how I love my sources. So let me put it briefly right now. Respect is acknowledging who and what someone is, both unconditionally and in the context of yourself. So like when somebody says, you better respect me, usually they mean they want you to acknowledge their authority over you. I don't know how that really works out so well for most people. And then there's people who say, I want respect from you. And what they're saying is, I want you to recognize who I am. So when we're talking about, especially in the case of sexuality and in the case of Ludus, respect means acknowledge who you are each. Who are you to each other? Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, lovers, cuddle partners, boyfriend-in-law, whatever. But then more than that, consent. I mean, I don't want to, like, flog the deceased equine or anything like that, but consent's kind of a big deal. Talking about your needs, desires, fantasies, and boundaries are critical in order to really expand on this type of love. It's not just doing all the things. You don't have to do all the things to have successful Ludus. If there are things that you don't like, don't do them. Hey, I'm not really into butt stuff. Okay, don't do the butt stuff. Hey, please don't stick your penis in my ear. Okay, I won't stick my penis in your ear. It's not that hard. Well, I mean, it might be, which is why it's uncomfortable going in the ear, but you know what I mean. Learning how to please each other, talking about it, taking interest in each other's pleasure, understanding and respecting the boundaries. Now, respect. I recognize who you are. You recognize who I am. We respect each other. Learning how to please each other means respecting who you are, respecting who I am. So maybe my partner's all about the butt stuff. I'm not really into butt stuff. That's okay. We figure out ways around that. It doesn't mean it's mutually exclusive. Now, sometimes we negotiate a way for everybody to get what they want? Okay, cool. He's really into butt stuff. I'm really into foot stuff. This is just an example. It's not a specific thing. So we negotiate that. Remember, I tell all of my couples this, and I will say it again and again and again till the cows come home. We never compromise, ever. We negotiate. Compromising means giving up. Everybody has to give something up in order to, like, narrow it down to the smallest possible solution. So it means chipping off all the edges, all the outlying pieces. And it's bullshit. Because when you compromise, you lose. No matter what you gain, you're going to end up losing. However, if you walk into a discussion with the spirit of negotiation, partner A says, I really want this. Partner B says, I really want this. They seem to be diametrically opposed. However, what can we add on? What kind of bridge can we build in order to both people get what they want? If we're compromising, it's like, okay, well, here are the teeny tiny little parts where these things overlap, and I guess everything else just gets taken away. Fuck a bunch of that noise. Negotiation is okay. So all right, maybe we can't do these big outlying things, but maybe we can do some stuff in the middle. How can we bring this together? How can we maybe trade off on doing this? And how often do you want to do this? And how often do you want to do that? I'm trying to come up with a good example. I got nothing. You know what? The foot and butt stuff, that's great. We'll go with that. So, okay, what do you get out of butt stuff? What do you like about it? Giving, receiving, find out more about it. This is all Ludus. Find out more about it. What do you like about it? Is it the sensation? Is it, is it the porn? Is it the power play? Is it, what about it is appealing to you? All right, well, what about the foot stuff? Okay, how do you like it? How often do you like it? What does it do for you? How does it feel? You know, where does it excite you? Which I know is a weird question, but sometimes arousal doesn't happen in the loins. See, they're not even getting creative. What the hell is this crap? Jerk faces. So, I doubt it. You know, so sometimes arousal happens in the loins, sometimes it happens in the mind, sometimes it happens other places. Just a thing. So you guys talk about it and you figure out, well, I like this part and I like this part, and sometimes it's going to overlap, sometimes it's not. So you build a bridge. You make sure everybody gets what they want. That is negotiation. But we're also talking about understanding and respecting boundaries. So this is a huge part of negotiation. A huge part of negotiation. Respecting someone's boundaries means understanding, acknowledging, integrating, internalizing, realizing, if necessary, what those boundaries are. You know, oops, I forgot you don't like the butt stuff is never a thing. Ever. Oh, I forgot that you like the foot stuff. Also not a thing. You guys had a discussion about this. What do you need to write it down? ADHD. First rule of ADHD, if you don't write it down, it doesn't exist. I'm building a list. If you want to... Hey, baby, I'll buffer all you want. So anyway, is that a sex thing, this buffering? When you respect each other, you understand and acknowledge who you are. When you respect each other's boundaries, you understand what those boundaries are. There's no way around this. Consent is not just about, yes, I agree to this thing. It's also about exercising your agency, which we'll get to this time, might be later. All right, that's Ludus. It's okay, sweetheart, you'll get caught up. Storge. It's a great word. Storge. So storge is, you know, we'll wait for Panda to get back, maybe, in something. Storge is a protective love. Now, it's normally kind of described as the love that parents feel for their children, and that is very protective. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess protective is the best word for it. English kind of sucks. Which is, you know, that's the whole point of this entire discussion, is that English just sucks. You know, we should have a lot more words for things than we do. And also it's, you know, late and words are hard. So, storge is the protective love. It's also, when we put it in terms of our relationships, it's also the type of love that has guys standing up to protect their lady's honor in public situations. And it's just as much about protecting your partner as it is making sure they're drinking water every day and taking their medications and getting enough sleep. Oh, that reminds me, baby, can you bring me mine, please? I love you. Okay. And I really need to start taking them earlier. Storge can be a very, very fierce love. And what's weird, actually can't see if she's back yet or not. I'm waiting for you, Panda. I know this is an important part for you. So the fun thing about Storge is when someone is inspired to feel this. I love you so much. When somebody is inspired to feel this for their partner and they're not used to it, they're used to being fiercely independent and I could do it and you know, I know how to do stuff and things like that, then they resist this type of love because they feel like they're being mommed or dadded or smothered. That's probably been one of the biggest challenges. Hi, Panda. It's probably been one of the biggest challenges between Gryphon and I, because I've always been in a very caregiver type place. And he's always kind of had to take care of everybody else. And I'm like, no, I really kind of want to buy clothes for you and build you things and make you stuff and change the oil in your car. And like, I made his desk, you know, that has this little 2-tier system over there. And I know there's something else that I built for him. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But, you know, like I built all the shelves in here and you know, we just put a bunch of stuff together. And, you know, to me, that's just returning the favor because he takes care of me too. But is very, I blame patriarchy really for a lot of it. But he's getting there. So Storge is a fierce love. It is, it can be kind of quiet. It can be staunch. It can be stubborn. That's me. I'm the stubborn one. And it's weird because, yes, people do absolutely need some personal responsibility over their own well-being, right? And remember that this entire thing was written for the premarital education class, so don't get hung up on my wording. But, you know, there is a part, and this is something else that we get into a little bit more in a couple of more loves. Let's see, what are we on? This is 4. So we went over Eros, we went over Philia, we went over Ludus, we went over Storge. Yeah, we got 3 more. So, yes, you have to be, to a certain degree, you have to be responsible for your own well-being. But when your partner says, hey, baby, how much water have you had to drink today? Hey, baby, did you take your meds tonight? Hey, baby, when was the last time you ate? Hey, baby, get your ass in the shower. That's Storge. That's saying I love you. You know, there's a awesome little meme that goes out on the internet a lot. I love you. See? Storge. Yes, 4, yes, okay. So there's this awesome little meme going around. I see it fairly regularly that, you know, sometimes I love you doesn't sound like I love you. Sometimes I love you sounds like, grab a sweater, it's cold outside. Or, here, take this. You know, it's dangerous, take this. Or, you know, who's going to be there? Call me when you get home. Or, did you finish your homework? Did you finish your work? All of these things, you know. Did you take your meds? Are you feeling okay? Where have you been? Now, obviously, if it gets overboard and it gets like controlling and weird, then yeah, you need to tap the brakes on that. But Storge is a beautiful thing. All right. The next word is Pragma. Also known as, featured in such fantastic other words as pragmatic, practical, pragamemnon. I'm just making shit up. As the name implies, it is a practical side of love. So this is like fair division of labor, clear negotiation of fiscal responsibility. It's also, you know, talking about the practical matters. What's your shared household email going to be? Planning family vacations. Storge's all been weird and controlling for you. Well, there's a point where it stops being Storge and just becomes asshole. So we'll get to that later, Panda. Planning family vacations, making sure the house is clean. So there's this weird little thing that happens when you have a, I won't say overdeveloped sense of pragma, but it can sometimes border on weird, where your happiness is determined by how clean the house is, not in terms of I can't stand clutter and this is weird, but in I don't want my family to live like this, or the state of the house is my expression of them. Food is love. You know, I talk about this a lot, and we're gonna have a whole other discussion about it. Yes, I'll be using some of my recipes, Panda. But pragma is actually where a lot of that comes in. Food is love. So when it's expressed in practical ways, this is what it falls under. But pragma is also, because pragma is the love that panics if the money gets tight or rent might be late, not because, oh my God, I'm a failure of a person, but what am I going to do for my family? Oh crap, did I make sure that there is clean work pants? Feeling overwhelmed that you have nothing left to give, or that you don't feel like you have anything to give in more than one way. It could be something practical like, you know, I'm just out of cash and I want to get this thing for you. But it could also be, I desperately want to stay up and cuddle you, but I'm at the end of my rope and I'm exhausted. My chefistry, I love it. I'm going to use that. Thank you, sweetie. My chefistry is a thing. But the funny thing is that pragma is also the love that underpins all the others when things get shitty. It's practical conversations and considerations that keep you together through fights and arguments, because dividing up the Funko Pop collection would be pretty much impossible. I mean, who the heck gets an odd number of Funko Pops? I mean, come on. And like, who's gonna make the traditional Thanksgiving turducken? Oh my God, that's gonna be made. Who's coming up with stuff like that? I mean, seriously. So, as you'll recall from such previous hits as the 7th anniversary edition, you know, things have not always been hearts and showers and hearts and flowers and sunshine and bunnies and unicorns jacking off rainbows and stuff the whole time. And there have definitely been times when I've been going, oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Because seasonal affective disorder sucks. And my SAD comes with a mild level of psychosis. The things that Pragma invoked, my Pragma invoked, were, yes, but then I'd never get to see mom again. His mom, who's amazing. And well, you know, I got these tattoos for the kids. It's going to be really weird explaining that if we break up to somebody else. Man, I really just don't want to fucking move again. I hate moving. I've done it so many times. It just, you know what? Fine. Fuck it. I hate moving so much. I'm going to work this shit out. I'm going to power through this bullshit and figure shit out. And even though it seemed completely stupid, and why would you even, that shit worked. And that's Pragma kind of pulling a fast one on you. All right. Yeah. Pragma is choosing your partner every day, even when it's hard. Actually, it's probably easier when it's hard. Even when it's difficult and everybody's being assholes. Choosing your partner every day, even when everybody's being assholes. That's a good way to put it. Philosha. Oh my God, fucking cat. But piss off. Philosha. So this is what I was about to touch on with Storge when I was saying, everybody has to be responsible for their own well-being at a certain point. But Philosha is the word that means self-love. So even when you're with somebody, self-love is a requirement. Even when you have so much other loves to share, oh my God, there are like so many other loves, but you still have to have loves for yourself because you are worth all the loves. Loves from you, loves from other people. Self-love is best love. If you don't take care of yourself, you don't have anything to share with your partner or your family. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Now, there is and I'll touch on this in just a minute, because we're going to talk about the difference between me think and self-love. Dalek, who is not with us this evening, that's a whole other story, will be, we talked about this a lot. Self-love is not the same as being selfish. But self-love is also not wrapping yourself in a blanket burrito and ignoring the world for 3 weeks because you had a rough afternoon. Self-love is setting clear boundaries. It's also establishing your tolerances fairly. It is treating yourself and others fairly. The cat done not, my cat, from over here? My cat knocked your cat? Wait, what? Oh, you have a cat. I have the cat over here trying to get up on the table. So I was very confused. But the cool thing about being in a relationship, in a marriage especially, is that your partner can and does become part of your self-love and self-healing routine. When you know each other well enough, you can be able to tell each other, if you need your partner can tell if you need a bubble bath or a glass of wine or a goofy movie or, a romp in the sheets. It can happen. Now, here's the thing about Philosha. 3 cats. Cool. I have 3 pets. Fur pets. The dogs, I think, would like to be cats so that the cat treats them fairly, but I don't know. It's hilarious. You know how big Leonidas is. He is terrified of Queen Mabulus. Anyway, so Philosha is self-love. And at a certain point in your maturation, you have to shift from me think, I say, all right, let me roll that back for a second. You should shift from me think into self-love. So me think is, I want to stay up all night and play video games. Dalek. Self-love is, I really need to take my meds and go to sleep so that I can actually get up at a decent hour and have enough sleep so that my brain doesn't turn to absolute mush. Because I know if I don't get enough sleep, I'm going to turn into a cranky asshole, and then my depression's going to come back, and life is going to suck, and I'm never going to get to play Xbox again, and things are going to just be the worst. Oh my God. Me think is, oh, you know what? Just one more drink. I'll be fine. Self-love is, what the fuck am I doing? I'm allergic to this shit. I think you get the idea. So when we talk about Fellowship and we're talking about self-love, especially in the context of relationships, and not just relationships with other people, it's also relationships with ourselves. And as we go back through this list, you can actually actively express every one of these with yourself. And I'll recap about that in a minute. Excuse me. That does not mean that fellowship can't be fun. Because sometimes, you know what? You do need a glass of wine and a hot bubble bath. I need more tips for fighting the ADHD because I'm not sleeping until 8 a.m. on good days. Okay. So Panda, if you want, I will, next Tuesday, because the vice presidential debate isn't until Wednesday, so yay, we get to not have our moment stolen from us. I wonder how that's going to work out. Pence on stage with a woman. Only if mother says it's okay. Yeah, you know what? I'll put an ADHD list together. I was actually coming up with the list of ADHD rules. Rule number 1 is if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. Rule number cheese is it's hard. Everything's hard until it's not. Rule number cat is practice makes better, so keep practicing. Rule number B is out of sight, out of mind. I could go on, but no, I get it, honey. So back to Fellowship. Quick recap since we diverged. Fellowship. Self-love is taking care of yourself. Self-love is saying, what do you need? And when your needs are met, what do you want? And what do you want that's not going to interfere with your needs? Needs like not damaging your health. Things like not endangering your well-being or your financial welfare. Stuff like that. That's all Fellowship. Most importantly, you cannot pour from an empty cup. That's like one of my favorite things to say. It's weird. The last one is a little strange. Rather, most of my couples think it's weird. But I think you'll understand. Agape. Now, most people have heard agape in the context of, there's like the Agape Foundation or something like that. It's some sort of charity thing, blah, blah, blah. But agape is universal love. And it's the kind of love that makes us want to recycle or march in protests or be kind to strangers or hashtag wear a mask, hashtag wash your hands. But it's also the kind of love that makes us want to make the world a better place for our people, for our families, for our partners. It's the love that lets us examine our flaws. and also to be willing to heal from them, to do better. It lets us know that we are irrevocably lovable. We are worthy. And that nothing can change that. It's not, our worth is so indelible, it's neither increased by our success nor decreased by our failures. Let me say that again so you can look in my face. Your worth is inalienably positive. It's valuable. You are lovable. You are worthy. And that worth is not increased by your success, nor is it decreased by your failure. The value that you have just as a human being is always there. It is only ego and poor programming and malware and bullshit and crap that gives us the idea at all that we're anything less than that. When we buy into the idea that we can feel shame for what we are, what we think we are, because we've made mistakes, yeah, that's where we start feeling like we've been depleted. But it's wrong. It's just wrong. It's not real. It's not real. Because there is pretty much nothing that you can't learn from and come back from. Yes, you're going to have to pay for mistakes, because sometimes that's just the way things happen. But that's part of learning. That's part of growing as humans. Agape is the type of love that makes us want to be the very, very best versions of ourselves. Whether that is with somebody else or by ourselves. Agape is that type of love. It's the love that makes us go to war, not for the world that we live in today, but for the world that our family and our children and our grandchildren will live in tomorrow. Agape is the love that made me record the frickin' presidential debates tonight. Not because I'm going to be convinced of anything. You know, I already know where my vote's going. I already know how I feel about things. That's not the question. I just want to know how to protect my loved ones. You know? And that's, this is the only way to do it. Let me go back here. Right. So, the words are Eros, which is the zing. Philia, your best friend. Ludus, sexy times. Storge, protection. Pragma, practical things. Philosia, self-love. And agape, universal love. And I'll put, because this is like directly from my my slides for my class, I haven't put them on one single, slide just yet, because there's actually a workbook that goes to the whole thing, and, blah, 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 blah. Every last one of those, you can and should experience within yourself and with your partner. Eros, I think, is the part where you look in the mirror, or you look at a video, or you look in at your selfies or something like that, and you go, yeah, check that guy out. Yeah. Not out of a sense of vanity, but just to say, hey, person's pretty cool. That person can do. Dang. Philia is the part where you even know what it is you like. Board games, video games, whatever. Ludus. Well, we all need a little bit of Ludus, even if we do have to take matters into our own hands. I think because of the weird non-circulation over on this side, my lips get really dry. But Storge, you know, drink your water, wear a mask, wash your hands. Pragma, make your bed, do the dishes, make sure you have clean pants. Philosha, don't overdo it. Take care of yourself. I don't feel that. Do we what? So I know there's a delay there's a lag in the chat. Panda says, do we? I don't feel that. So you don't feel which part? Happily ludusless. You are happily ludusless. Well, so I don't know if you heard this part, but Ludus, although yes, it can be and often is sexual or intimate. It is more intimate than it is sexual. So you can have Ludus without actually doing anything below the belly button. Ludus is what feels good, what puts you over the top in terms of sensory enjoyment. So for a lot of people, Ludus is, as I said, the 5 love languages, right? 5.5 love languages, in my opinion. You still have to have some sort of sensory element that keeps you in touch with your body. You know, now there is, there's lots of theories and ideas of the way the 7 loves relate to all kinds of other 7s in all sorts of places, but let's not read too much into it. Let's just go with what is your carnal experience. Now, carnal experience might be, you know, well, let's not get too graphic, but just imagine that I'm saying something really graphic. Got to go back and rewatch it because it keeps buffering at critical points for me. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Yes, it will be here. Absolutely. But to continue talking about this point, carnal enjoyment can also be like an absolutely kick-ass pint of chocolate caramel gelato. Or it could be a really, really amazing meal. Or it could be the best pair of fuzzy pants in the world. Or it could be a candle, a scented candle that just puts you over the moon into a beautiful place. Could be any number of things. A museum, artwork. It is some sort of sensory intensity. That's what matters. When you share Ludus with someone else, 9 times out of 10, it is sexual or intimate or touch, because that's the way humans communicate. We talk about words and sounds and looks and things like that, but the first and most powerful way that humans communicate intimately is with touch. Not necessarily sexually, but tactily. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, that put me off my thing. I don't remember what I was talking about before. So I think we're just going to take it about another 10 minutes. We're going to take it right up to 11 o'clock, I think. But the thing about the 7 words for love, and the 7 types of love, is that, we talk about balance. We talk about them being in balance, and that's not, I think it makes a lot of people think that they should all be the same sort of quantity or quality all the time, and that's not really fair. There are always going to be times when they are stronger or lesser, depending on what's going on. Like I said, sometimes you have to rely very heavily on Pragma because your Eros is bottomed out. Like, why the fuck am I with this hamster? Oh my God. What the hell was I thinking? Why did I think I could handle this? What the fuck did I even... And a lot of times it's because either something has happened that you don't understand, or there's a big unresolved problem, or, as happens to me fairly frequently, so Ludus can apply to non-romantic relationship with mother and child. To a degree, well, I would say that all 7 loves can apply to any relationship. When you strictly apply Ludus as a sexual thing, which I think a lot of people tend to, yeah, it gets a little weird. But Ludus is where ludicrous comes from, which is silliness. And so it's, it's happy times, it's fun times, it's silly times, it's things like that. But it is, so it's, laughing, joking around. Ludus between a parent and child would be more like snuggling and eating popcorn and watching movies. Having a fun time, having a good shared experience that does include a sensory intensity or some sort of sensory element. It's like, yay, we read a book together. You read a book together, yay! That saying, I don't remember what they said, but I remember how I felt. It's kind of like that. So here's a couple of cool things about human memory. How you felt emotionally is almost always, I only say almost because there are abstracts that suggest or that have not measured this, so it's not 100% consensus, but the ones that have actually studied this association have found it to be consistent. Emotional associations are almost always attached to another sensory input because emotions are abstract. Emotions are chemical. They're not, they aren't things that we materially experience. So, for instance, I only let the boys have a particular type of gum when they're doing schoolwork. So when they're doing the schoolwork, they associate that gum with doing schoolwork. So they have this gum and now they focus, so that is associating this emotional approval, this feel-good feeling of, wow, we're getting stuff done, this accomplishment with this type of gum. So that's a little sensory programming. But a great example, I remember my grandmother on my mom's side. And I remember looking at these green marble grapes. So they were marble, like green marble, jade grapes that she had. And there was this party, like a cocktail party in their apartment, way top of this apartment building. Very, very hoity-toity, very fancy. And I remember the smell of these mixed clove cigarettes. There was these cocktail cigarettes that weren't just regular tobacco. It had like some sort of minty, clovey type thing in them. And Chanel No. 5. And I was super tired, and I can't remember what was going on, but I was hiding under one of the tables. I think I was just getting freaked out from all the people there. I couldn't have been more than like 4 or 5. And the smell of Chanel No. 5, and God's help me, I haven't been able to find those other cigarettes. I probably wouldn't react in the same way now because I kind of get weird around it. But Chanel No. 5 in particular makes me feel so safe, because my grandmother, who was, this was her party. This was her cocktail party. This was her thing. She, I think she got me under, they weren't regular clove cigarettes. They were definitely mixed. I remember that they were these pastel colors, which was weird because I thought Lucy was there, but Lucy wasn't there, but that's a whole other story. The Lucy story is kind of fun. But Lucy was my imaginary friend who wasn't. But like I said, we'll get to it later. But she picked me up and she carried me into her bedroom, where there were all of these coats on the on the bed. And she, took me around, because she was like, great big huge bed. And she took me around to the other side and she snuggled me in. And I remember just this beautiful feeling of being safe. I don't remember what she looked like. I don't remember what she was wearing. I don't remember what she said. I remember feeling her very strong arms. Of course, I'm a teeny tiny thing, so what does that mean? And the smell, of these cigarettes and this cologne clinging to her clothes, and drifting off to sleep as that scent drifted off. And so when we talk about Ludus in terms of an intense expression of this love in a non-sexual way, we are talking about a specific significant value, quantitative or qualitative value of a sensory input, a sensory experience, and it doesn't have to be intense, but the emotion that's attached to it does. So don't go overboard on the garlic on the popcorn or whatever, but they're not going to remember the movie. The movie doesn't matter. What's going to matter is what the blanket smells like, what the popcorn was, and they're going to remember the love, and they're going to remember the moment, and they're going to remember feeling safe and feeling secure, as long as there is that other sensory input to associate it with. Does that make sense? I know we're lagged all to hell, but I hope that did make sense. So Ludus is, let's talk about them all in just briefly in parent-child and non-marital types of expressions. So Eros is how you can spot your kid in a crowd. And that little heart skip that happens when you see him bounce off the bus, or when your heart breaks because she slinks off the bus because something terrible happened, or that that little ooh that happens when she slips her hand into your hand and gives a little squeeze, that zing, that moment you fell in love. Oh yeah. Oh, I figured out that was one of the things that was triggering my horrible, oh my God, please somebody kill me now headaches. Super awesome. Yeah, super sensitive to smells. But that's Eros. And then Philia is doing stuff together, reading the books and watching movies and talking about things and, what games do they like to play together, playing games with them, but being honest about it. Having that friend relationship. There's this, I was talking to Short Stack's teacher today, and we were talking a little bit about how some parents want to be their kid's friend, and some parents want to be their kid's caregiver. And my argument is, why are they mutually exclusive? We actually make a strong point of setting clear boundaries here for all the kids, for making sure that bedtimes are stuck to, that dinner is spent together, that playtime is limited, that school stuff is finished, and we also talk to each other like humans, so that philia is, yeah, this is our friend time. This is us, goofing around, playing board games together, stuff like that. Ludus is, having good food, which is also pragma, which is also this. But when you have a really good meal and you have that heightened experience, when you have the funny things, when you laugh so hard your belly hurts, that's your Ludus. Your storge, of course, we all know what storge is when it comes to our kids. It's what we do to make sure that they stay vaccinated, to make sure that if they're not going to wear a mask, they don't leave the house, to make sure that they wash their hands, to make sure they eat their vegetables, to make sure that they don't go, down in a fifth of vodka, shit like that. Then you've got your Pragma. Wait, I'm behind one. Hang on. Here we go. Ha ha. Eros, Philia, Ludus, Storge, Pragma. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, here we go. I can count. Then Pragma is, making sure that they have clean clothes, making sure they take a bath, making sure that that they brush their hair. Could maybe be, but don't overdo it. Don't be so focused on Ludus that you forget your storge, or that you forget your pragma. That's where the balance comes in. What's appropriate right now? You'll get there, sweetheart. It's okay. This is all here for you later. Buffering is, I think we should probably make it a sex thing just to be funny. But your pragma is making sure that they have they get to bed on time. They have clean jammies. Good food. To the best of your capabilities. Philosha is taking care of yourself so that you can take care of them. And also teaching them how to take care of themselves. Teaching them how to respect themselves. Teaching them how to set their boundaries. Respecting their boundaries. Showing them how that stuff works. Investing in their sense of agency. Letting them put their foot down and state clearly their consent or non-consent. And then agape, teaching them about the world. teaching them how to be kind to people, how to be kind to themselves. Agape is, here's how to plant a tree. Here's how to be kind to birds and animals. Don't leave anybody out. Don't leave anyone behind. So, yes, in a certain sense, and I think it has to be applied in a certain sense to every circumstance. Yes. All seven loves are potentially present in all relationships. Best friend relationships, marital relationships, polyam relationships, child-parent relationships, both adult children and small children. It can work both ways. And the other side, of course, is that if your partner, in whatever configuration, because we just talked about a lot of different types of relationships, if they're not willing to give you that same respect and that same balance back, well, honey, sometimes you just gotta let a bitch go. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. I say this specifically because there are a number of parent-child relationships. Obviously, you hold out judgment until after they're adults, that frankly just don't set those standards, don't meet those standards. And then you're like, oh, well, shit. And do you give up? Do you just like let it go and whatever? Fuck no. You kind of leave that door open, but you don't let yourself suffer wringing your hands, waiting for them to come around, or getting pissed off and slamming a door. At least, not permanently. So, those are the 7 words for love. Eros, Philia, Ludus, Storge, Pragma, Velocia, and Agape. There are some other assholes who try to include mania as one of them, but that is not a love. That's actually an illness. In the, as I understand it, in the original Greek. So these are words that you should absolutely understand as best as you can. And if you feel like your relationships with whomever, it's not going well, take a look and see how those 7 points are working for you. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Okay. So, as of right now, it is just after 11. I love you all very, very much. This is Love Bites Hard. Remember that we are on the Twitters, Love Bites Hard with a Y TV, and over you can get us lovebiteshard.tv at gmail.com if you have questions. Lovebiteshard with the Y.com. If you have any questions that you would like to submit directly, we have the Discord, we have the Twitters, we have all sorts of things. A lot of those links are actually down below in our About section. And please subscribe so that you can always find out when we are going live. It is usually Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Time. I hate saying Central Standard or Central Daylight or whatever, because who the heck knows when it changes. I don't give a shit, like, at all. It's 9 o'clock where I am. And daylight saving time is bullshit. I think that's pretty much it. So, definitely make sure. Panda, did you actually subscribe, or do you just try to like come in when you can? Did you follow me? I don't know if you did. Well, whatever the case. Anyway, sweetheart, I love you very much. And You're very, very welcome, and we will see you next Tuesday. Definitely keep an eye on the YouTubes, though, because we are, I am going to try out some new stuff, and we'll be posting, quite possibly, some videos about the debate, because, as I said before, I am a masochist. Little 70, signing out. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon.